Cool. Well, welcome
Thank you.
to Cathedral. I mean, you've been around for a while. Like, it's not like you're a stranger here, which I think is like part of the magic. Like, I think it's really cool that like, our friends and community or whatever can be contributing to our space, not just kind of coming in and being served, but it's like kind of fun when we kind of like bring people into what we get to do, which is like really fun. So welcome to our space.
Thank you.
Super exciting.
Thank you for having me.
For those that don't know, your name's Chloe.
I'm Chloe.
Yes. Are you from Portland?
I'm not. I'm
okay.
originally from Kansas.
Okay.
Came out here about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Without a job.
Sure.
Just on a
Just
whim.
like on a whim?
Yeah, with my partner Henry.
Okay.
And
was he the reason why you came out here? Or
no, we both were. The Midwest is great, but we were just like, let's try something new.
Yeah.
Well, we were not tied down to anything,
Sure.
and so we just jumped on the opportunity. He didn't have a job either, but he landed a job pretty quickly at an architecture firm. So It was all chance. And we were just like, let's do it, which is like very me. I'm kind of a spontaneous person like that.
Yeah. Were you working a job in the Midwest at the time? Like, were you doing something and you left it? Or like, was that
I was working in coffee, actually.
Okay.
And she closed up shop, the gal I was working for, but we just were like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why Portland?
Why not, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, no, really, like we had a couple of places on the top of our list. It was Portland, Seattle, Austin, kind of. But one night we were eating at this place in Kansas City they had this dish called mac and trees. So it was like broccoli and macaroni and cheese. Anyways, it was always have a special place in my heart. We just like looked at each other and we were like, let's do it. Let's try Portland. So we came to visit and we were like, we fell in love.
Yeah. I feel like Portland's one of those cities that's very easy to fall in love with right away.
Yeah.
It's like,
lots of hospitality here too, which is a thing that's important to me coming from the Midwest, because I feel like there's a lot of soul there. And that was something that I saw here, was a lot of people being really welcoming and open and excited to like serve, and also to create community and like to help one another, which is really special and necessary, I think, because as a creative person, I want to uplift other people. So that's what I feel like Portland really is.
Okay. Yeah. And then when you came to Portland, you continued to work in coffee? Do I remember that right?
I did a few different things. I did some production work, a couple different creative production jobs. And then I moved into coffee, and then I did some more creative production. And then when the pandemic hit, I was like, doing it. I'm going to try.
You're going to do it.
I'm going to go full time, try to do this. And I'm full time as an artist, creative person, and it's
That's
like
amazing.
crazy to say.
Yeah. So you specialize, correct me if I'm wrong,
No.
in like textiles.
Yeah.
That's like what you've studied. Which
I did,
feel like
yeah.
for most people, up until knowing you, like I didn't even know that was something you could study. Like that was really cool. I was like, whoa.
I didn't actually either. I had no idea. I was like, I actually started off experimenting in different things like psychology, and then I was in interior design.
Okay.
And it was too rigid for me. I'm somebody who likes to use my hands, and I'm very tactile, and I think I wanted textile or interior design to be what textiles is.
Okay.
So I kind of found it on accident,
Yeah.
and it is a degree, and
Crazy. So you were studying interior design and then switched.
And then I switched over.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what was it about textiles, like specifically, that you were like, ooh, this,
Getting my hands dirty.
Okay. Yeah,
Covering
really
them. I mean, I remember there were like, we started off doing dye, like traditional shibori tie-dye techniques, and I would come home with just like purple and blue hands, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like it's so experimental and so playful, and I really am attached to the idea that there's no outcome with textiles in a lot of ways. I mean, some of it you can kind of understand exactly what you're going to get with like weaving or creating a garment maybe, but like I really like the nitty-gritty, like messy part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like that atmosphere is sort of translates into your work. And I mean, for those of you that are going to come into the shop, like you're going to see, it's like it feels like the sort of thing that you can't come up with that on a computer. You know what I mean? Like it is so like made by a human being.
Yeah.
And that's such a beautiful part of it. I think that's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is. It's really special. And I feel like for me, something that's really important, just a value of mine in general, is connection. And so if I can put a little bit of myself into something and somebody else connects with that, it's a really powerful thing. But the best way I know how to do that is just with my hands.
Right. And it's not like you're creating, from what I've seen so far, it doesn't seem like you create a whole bunch of different copies of the same thing. You know, it's like everything feels very kind of unique and sort
it's
of
like
specific.
A one-off,
and
one of a kind. Yeah.
Totally. Which almost like increases the value in a sense. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like the one of these that's
yes,
ever going to be
there's
made.
only one in the world.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's story that's kind of attached to some of those things? Like, or is it just kind of like, hey, this is how I feel right now?
Both, I think. I mean, this collection specifically is called Joy as Resistance, and I think it's a celebration kind of finding joy in this last year for everything that we've all been through collectively, but also personally, and the heaviness, like understanding that there are small moments. And like, on one hand, I hold, you know, the pain that we face as humans and the injustice that we face. On the other hand, I'm also choosing to promote your joy, collective joy, my joy. And I think that in doing, you know, it may be a dress, but like at the end of the day, there's also so much in that I put a lot of energy into, and also just like, it makes me really happy to make things.
Yeah. Do you, okay, this is just like this is almost maybe like my own personal question.
Yeah.
Do you feel nervous about sharing your stuff?
Interesting question.
Because like, obviously there's a joy in making it.
I think
but
there's
do you ever
a
go
little
like,
bit
you
of
know,
like,
are people gonna like this, you know?
well, yeah, I mean, there's always that, like, are people gonna like this thing? But I think it's like, if I don't, something that I grew up with a creative mom, something that she really instilled in me is like, you have a gift, use it. And if I just hold back for the sake of like, out of fear, nobody's going to receive that. You know, nobody's going to receive that gift. And I think that there's so many things, like I wouldn't have probably moved to Portland if I let fear get in the way. But, and yeah, like every time I'm like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Like, is it too wild and zany? Like, but you know what? I'm wild and zany, and like, I'm not going to apologize.
Yeah, that's amazing. Super cool.
Thanks.
So let's talk a little bit about, so you're doing clothing in this collection, and then there's a couple of like art pieces.
Yes.
How would you describe them? Because I feel like some of it's kind of painted, some of it's like
mixed media.
Okay.
Yes.
Mixed media. Cool.
That's what I would say. Because it is, some of it's painted, but except for one piece, everything involves a textile.
Okay.
But I'm very into the idea of recycling, upcycling, reusing secondhand things. And so almost everything in this show is something that another hand has touched, other than my own. And I really connect with that because I think there's just so much that we can do with what we already have. And I really challenged myself, aside from like one color of sequins and the art board, the board I used, to use everything that I already had. So I would say it's like mixed media, recycled color explosion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's super cool. And it's like one of the first things that when we were first even talking about doing this in the shop, I was just sort of struck by the amount of color that was in it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like it almost feels like there's more color in some of these pieces than I thought was possible to put in something like that. You know what I mean? Like a shirt that's like, you know, like it's just so like vibrant, and I love that about it. It's super exciting.
Thank you. More is more. If you ask me.
That's awesome. Super cool. Well, we're so excited.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And it really is special. Like my house is 5 blocks away, and it's hyper local, and I come here like 3 times a week. You know, so it's really amazing to be celebrated and uplifted by my close-knit community.
Right.
And it really means a lot.
And for us, it goes beyond just, being in the neighborhood. I think, we seek not only from the standpoint of what we serve and where we get our stuff or whatever, but even just who we collaborate with or who we talk about online with, or, every kind of aspect of it. We are kind of a values-based organization, and so we're always looking for people who vibe with what we're vibing with, for lack of a better term. It's kind of like, when somebody down the street is also super about what we're about, and there's that synergy there. That's really exciting.
Yes.
So we're super excited to have that partnership.
Thank you.
But yeah, so Chloe's going to be in the shop from today, 1st of April, through the end of May this year, and we're just super excited to have her. So
come check it
you're
out.
welcome. Yeah, come check it out. It's super cool. We're excited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.